Question. Kim, I've been wondering for a while now why some teachers don't actually teach anything and go around saying, you are consciousness or you are awareness. What can a dual mind do with these statements? Create a separate self that believes to be consciousness? Well, basically I would say yes. That's what you can do. If you are still affected by duality, and if you weren't affected by duality, why would you be attracted to a teaching that talks about the escape from duality or non-duality? If you're still affected by duality, what can you do other than create a subconscious self that believes it's awareness? I mean, I understand. I've seen some of these videos out there where they go around saying, you are consciousness or you are pure awareness. And I've thought to myself, what are they actually saying? And how useful is it? In other words, I have looked back at my path, and I've always been the kind of person who said, when I came across a spiritual teaching, give me something practical, give me something I can apply. And the statement, you are pure awareness, I can't really see how to apply it, even when I look back at my whole path. I mean, I understand what you can mean with it. I'm not denying it. But I look back and I see that if you told me this 20 years ago, what could I have done with it? Nothing whatsoever. And so I think many of the people who hear this, and I think honestly that I've talked about this in several of my non-duality videos, so I'm not really going to repeat too much here, but the basic thing is that you can, when you set yourself up as a spiritual teacher and you have a certain spiritual teaching, you can back yourself into a corner. And you especially do this when you have certain statements or certain ideas that you think this is the absolute truth, this is the highest understanding, and these we don't need to question. It's the same as done with traditional religion or materialistic science or Marxism or whatever. Any kind of thought system you have where they have these unquestionable truths that you don't need to question or you don't need to have an experience that goes beyond it, you can paint yourself into a corner. And I think that is what, as I've said before in several non-duality videos, some of these non-dual teachers, they have adopted this view based on Shankara's old statement. Only Brahman is real, the world is an illusion. And they have therefore adopted this, any differentiation is duality. And duality causes suffering. So therefore we need to in order to overcome suffering, we need to overcome duality, which means we need to overcome differentiation, we need to overcome a sense of self. And what's then, when it's not duality, what is it then? You could call it Brahman, but in the modern Western world, Brahman is not really a word you want to use. So they come up with this, you are consciousness, you are pure consciousness, you are pure awareness. And then they just repeat that as a mantra, and they repeat it, and so the people who follow these teachings believe in it, they are thinking, oh, this must be the ultimate truth, and I don't grasp it. In fact, I don't really get it at all, but it must be because I'm not advanced enough, because surely the teacher sees it. Right? And there's actually I've referenced him before, a man called Jeff Foster, who used to be a non-dual teacher, and he has a video on why I quit non-duality. And in that video he says, I used to go around saying, I am pure awareness. I used to go around thinking I am pure awareness. But then he realized that he still has some unresolved psychology, and he was willing to admit that and deal with it, which I think is admirable. I'm not saying people should be perfect from the beginning, but so if you can find that video, Jeff Foster, Why I Quit Non-Duality, and see what he says, that makes sense to you. But what he's also saying in there is, what does it mean you are pure awareness? And it actually does have a meaning in the teachings I'm giving, because what I have explained, including in my video about how the world was created, is that we have a higher self in the spiritual realm. And it sent an extension of itself into embodiment, which is what I call the conscious you. In order to take embodiment and interact with the physical body, the conscious you had to create the outer personality, which are called the identity body, the mental body, the emotional body. And this integrates to the physical. But the conscious you is not the outer personality. It isn't the fullness of the I am presence either. And it has no distinct individuality or personality. And therefore you can say it's pure awareness. But then you also have to understand what that means, because the conscious you can say is just a focus, a focal point from which you are observing the world. So right now I am sitting here, and as I am thinking about this, it's as if there's an imaginary point somewhere inside my being, inside my body. This is my vantage point. This is where I'm looking. When I'm thinking about looking, it's somewhere behind my eyes, there's this point, and I'm there looking out through my eyes from that point. That's the conscious you. It's just a focus, a localized focus, so you can interact with the world, focus in the world. But it's still a distinct sense of self. It is pure awareness in the sense it's not the outer personality. It's not my sense of identity as a man, as a Danish person, as white and this and that. It's none of that. It's more than that. It's beyond that. So I can actually have an experience, and the more you resolve psychology, the more you'll have that experience where I'm just observing the world. I don't have any opinions, I don't have any interpretations, I don't have any reactions. I'm just observing. And that's what I mean with growing towards higher states of consciousness, is that you're not pulled into all these reactionary patterns. You're just observing the world. It's just, things are just happening. That is what I would call pure awareness. But there are these teachers who are talking about it in a different way, where they're saying the essential nature of you is pure, undifferentiated awareness with no self. Now I assume that this means, because this is what it seems like with some of these teachers, where they're saying, you are infinite awareness who manifested itself as you, forgot that it's infinite awareness, and what the spiritual path is all about is that infinite awareness reawakens to its true nature, awakens from the dream that it's a separate self. And therefore I assume they are meaning that all that you are, all sense of self, dissolves into infinite awareness. Because it gives no meaning to say your essential nature is infinite awareness if there's still some sense of self that is localized. Because the localized can't be infinite, right? Just can't mix. So what I'm saying is that I have a different understanding of what it means, what infinite awareness is. It's still a sense of self, and the potential of the conscious you is that it first experiences the world, does whatever you can do in the world, what the I am presence wants to do in the world, and then when you're ready, when you've had enough of these experiences, you can return to the state of infinite awareness, pure awareness, neutral awareness, and then you can ascend, which means you reunite with the I am presence. But the I am presence has grown in self-awareness and creative ability because the conscious you was in embodiment. So this means that you are not going to dissolve, the conscious you isn't going to dissolve and disappear into infinite awareness. You're going to unite with the I am presence, and now you are that individuality in the I am presence. So the goal of the spiritual path is not that you disappear, it's that you become all that you are, become the I am presence. And then you can keep growing from there towards the creator consciousness. I explained that in my video about how the world was created and several other videos. So And to me, this I can deal with. This is practical. This I can apply. I can, first of all, work towards my ascension, because I've always had the sense it must be possible to graduate from Earth's schoolroom and go to a higher realm. I've never had the sense that there's nothing, that I'm returning to nothingness. I've never had that sense at all. It's always intuitively been completely alien to me. That's why I had trouble when I was younger with these Eastern teachings, going back to the Vedas and stuff. So to me, this is practical. This can be applied, and it also shows you a deeper sense of purpose, because quite frankly, here you are on Earth, most people are suffering, and the purpose of it is just to return to nothingness. I mean, how does that make sense to anybody? How does that ring true intuitively? How do you, in your heart, how does that appeal to you? How does that resonate? What resonates to me is self-transcendence. You can become more. You are transcending the separate self, not disappearing into nothingness.